Hey guys, King of Charmanders here. Today I'll be your judge, your jury, and your analyst. I hope you all had a fantastic Go Battle night because throughout the 100 battles, I lied terribly. But I'm still trying. Maybe at the end of this season I'll still have a soul. But anyways, as you see here, these are the top 3 teams for Open Ultra League. Now the reason I didn't do this video before Go Battle Night, the one I gave you was teams that a lot of people were using. So when you have a bigger, higher usage pool of players using that team, I think it's a lot more evident that it works well. These 3 statistically perform well, so if they're played a certain way, or if you understand how to play out of certain scenarios or a lot of scenarios and you've done really well with the team and you've played it for a little bit, or you understand the combinations, basically I'm telling you, you have some practice or you know a good idea of how this team might work, these are the top 3 teams for Open Ultra League. Now the reason it's a top 3 and I'm not doing a 5 is, like I said, I already covered some of the teams before, but the top teams for Open Ultra League, at least for this season, if you look over here, not a lot of people were using them. Me personally, I understand what it's like to break in a usage of 0.5% or an individual rating because I've done it before and it takes a lot of work. But the top 3 I will be looking at is this team right here. I'm going to skip the Swampert Articuno Cresselia team because I already covered that on my previous video on Go Battle Day. So if you want to take a look at that, you could go ahead, but I don't want to sound like a broken record, so I'm going to give you the top 3 teams right here. So this one, and then this one over here, which the third one's actually pretty cheap, and I've actually faced a few times in Open Ultra League for this season. Alright, so for the first team we have Obstagoon, Talonflame, Safe Switch, and Empoleon closes out. So I've actually faced this team a few times, practiced with it a little bit, and basically the basis is you sack Obstagoon in the lead unless you see a Machamp, or you try to Safe Switch into Talonflame and try to close out with some chip damage from Empoleon or Obstagoon. Obviously, your biggest weakness for this team is going to be fighters. You look at statistically, as you see here, this team has good coverage, good bulk, and only good safety. Unfortunately, Empoleon and Obstagoon, even though they're technically, well, basically what ruins the bulk for this team is literally just Empoleon. Although Empoleon is strong and covers a lot of things, the issue is it's not that bulky, so that's why. Along with that, this team also doesn't have Talonflame is an okay save switch. However, if your opponent has Swampert in the back, Talonflame can get prone to be locked into a very negative matchup in Ultra League, so be very careful. But this team will do a crap ton of damage. Overall, against the overall meta, this team does generally well. However, like I mentioned, anything with a fighting or focus blast attack basically is going to annihilate Obstagoon and Empoleon in the lead, so just be mindful of that. Outside of Obstagoon losing lead, like I mentioned, a lot of the ways you could play is to sack Obstagoon in the lead outright, and then close out with Empoleon and Talonflame with energy, which is how people have played this team against me, and how I've been beaten a few times by it. Just because I'm like, okay, I'm like, oh, or I either lose the Talonflame mirror or something, I just get outplayed, which happens, it happens sometimes, you know what I mean? It happens to all of us. Oh, this is totally a Brave Bird. No, it's not. Got baited. Y'all remember that game called Magikarp Jump? Whenever I get baited, that's what it feels like. It feels like I got baited into a game that I thought was going to be really awesome, but dang. Anyways, as you see here, this team only has a C for coverage, so that means a lot of combinations are going to do well against it. Particularly whatever resist counter is really what's going to give you a hard time, as things like Gyarados is probably the biggest one. Gyarados is out there in Open Ultra League a lot, and it does really well against this entire team, as you see here, so just be mindful of that. Also, as you see, there's a couple of different combinations, like Yacht's defense. You can also see, I don't think you'll see a Zapdos or Electivire, but you know what, it might be out there. Basically, electric types. Electric types do very well against your back row, so that's why they give you such a high threat score, just because of, again, the existence of electric types. However, the reason why this team made it to the top is because if you look at a lot of these combinations, you're not really going to see them in Open Ultra League. So, unless you get the unfortunate Machamp lead or the fighter lead, you should be able to get a lot of dubs statistically for this team. Rating at a very high 542. Anything over 500 will give you positive dubs. Anything close to like 550 or 600 is pretty dang good. 550 or 542 is a very good rating for a team, and this is a very cheap team. Compared to the other two I'm going to cover, this does have Obscune and Polium, which has two 10k second movers, and yes, Talonflame is XL. However, there's been a lot of events to where you can get a Talonflame XL, so you might have one built already for Open Ultra League. Alright, as much as I dislike this team, it is Triple XL, Scrafty, Ferrothorn, and G-Fisk. I think the funny thing is, I may have faced either someone that was using this team or the OG creator of this team. Because I remember facing this exact team, and all of them they're not really weak to Talonflame. You have win cons, but when you got Ferrothorn against KFC Chicken, that's a great meal. You know, vegans aren't always right, you know. I love meat, and you know, I love chicken. For those of you that like fried chicken, I like fried chicken as well. So, with that being said, would you like the original recipe or extra crispy? And yes, some of you have already said you know who that is, so we can be friends. But anyways, this team has terrible coverage because of Talonflame. It's literally just because of Talonflame. Because of that, it gives you a D just because Talonflame is the most powerful lead and there's a lot of them around. But this team does have great coverage, safety, and consistency. So you see here, outside of seeing a giant albatross flaming chicken known as the Talon of Fire, you do pretty well against a lot of different combinations. In fact, Scrafty is actually a pretty decent lead, and you actually have some win cons against Cresselia, as long as you don't get moonblasted to death. In fact, if they don't have moonblast and they have Future Sight Grass Knot, it really sucks. As you see here, the reason why it's not that great is just because your entire team not only has a hard time against Talonflame, but Machamp can also run you over, which is pretty ironic. Fighting types can give you a hard time, and anything that resists Scrafty, or ironically, as you see here, the long list of fighting types, literally, it's just the reason that Scrafty is weak to fighting. Scrafty is one of those unique situations where a fighter is weak to other fighters, just like Obstagoon. Obstagoon technically isn't a fighter, it's more like a pseudo-fighter, which means it's something that has counter and it's popular. And it's used a lot. But as you see here, Scrafty, pretty much just the problem with Scrafty and along with Talonflame. A back throw Talonflame can give you a huge issue, but still statistically this team is very powerful and there's a lot of ways you can play out of Talonflames, etc. As you see here, this team did rank at 551. So outside of the top team, this team actually has risen as the second most powerful team by barely a point. So it's very powerful, very good. The only thing you dislike about it, as I do as well, is that it's Triple XL. Alright, and the most powerful team for Season 9 Open Ultra League is Season 1 meta. No, seriously, it's literally the season 1 / preseason meta team. For those of you that have been playing Go Battle League since the free season or Season 1 since the beginning, Regigira was actually the most powerful core until I think about like Season 3. And then it switched it up. But for the longest time, Regigira was the most powerful and most devastating core of all time in Open Ultra League. So, along with this, putting Swampert in the back was actually made this team the most powerful team in around preseason or Season 1. It was the big three. And it came back into Ascension. Some crazy MF, whereas, yes, I'm going to curse for this video. It's not going to be PG-13 because I hate this team. You got Trash Can, Big Ghost Dragon, and then a Frog. Well, no, well, technically Swampert, I don't know. Someone educate me in the comments on what exactly Swampert is again, because I totally forgot. Anyways, this team is good. Registeel XL, this would feature, with Registeel XL, you have Giratina Say Switch, and then Registeel and Swampert can close out. The sheer amount of pressure, and along with Registeel being able to be XL, made this team again, it's risen to the most powerful team. Even though it's technically not unique, or it's pretty nuts, someone made the old team viable again. Which makes it, as you see here, this team is just really freaking good. Amazing bulk, safety, and consistency, and B for coverage, but grade per grade is just absolutely amazing. Of course, Registeel has to watch out for things like Talonflame, etc. However, this team does have double coverage against Talonflame, as you see here, and it's very, very powerful. Of course, Abomasnow can give you an issue in the back as well. However, if you can line up Registeel with Abomasnow, you're going to have a great time. Registeel is a fantastic mon and overall the most powerful mon in Open Ultra League statistically. So, yeah, you don't see a lot of teams, but Regi XL is that good. As you see, this team is very powerful, only having an issue with basically Talonflame and Gyarados just because you get walled. Both of them do resist you, and you do have Stunfisk XL, so you hate seeing pancakes. But this team is very powerful. As you see, 632 is still a relatively low threat score, and it just shows you how the old meta team can come back and bite you in the butt, because 551 is not easy to make, especially with a unique core like this, considering all the other combinations with Machamps in the lead, like Shadow Champ. If you remember, if you've been watching my content for a while, Shadow Champ's been on the top team for a while, so it's very interesting how Registeel was able to make it into the top by having multiple win cons against something like a Machamp. Well, there is win cons against Shadow Champ, etc., because if you Flash Cannon Shadow Champ, 9 times out of 10 you're going to KO it, especially with the Registeel XL, as long as it has a little bit of chip damage, because I don't think one Flash Cannon will exactly KO one Machamp. But this team's excessively powerful. If you have Regi XL, if you've been playing Go Battle League since Season 1, you probably have this entire team built already. So, GG's. And that's GG's. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. As you see, I didn't want to regurgitate teams, so basically, I just gave you the top 3 of walls on the list, but I figured that was a great way to do it, because the thing about unique teams is that there's a specific way they're played, or whoever made that team and it started using it, knows how to play around it. Because even though a team is specifically weak to one particular mon, you can still find win conditions out of it. For example, my Season 17 of Abomasnow, Escavalier, and Cresselia was all weak to fire types. And fire types weren't that popular until Talonflame came into exception into Open Ultra League. Despite that, that was the top 2 team I broke into PvPoke.com. So I made the top 2 most powerful team, was all weak to fire, and still made Legend with it pretty easily. So there are intricate strategies like that that can work. But of course, they require you to have a greater understanding of the team and to be a really great player as far as your mechanics goes. More videos on that later. Anyways, with Open Ultra League kind of going on until next week, expect Little Cup and Master League content to come pretty early. After I put that out there, I'll kind of make a video on my battles. It's been really hard for me to have quality battles. For those of you that are lagging, I am lagging as well, and I don't get it because I've never lagged so hard up to this season. From Seasons 1 to Seasons 8, I've generally been able to play without having a lot of issues, as in every battle I'll have issues here and then, but not for every battle. Now I'm having issues every battle, so it really sucks, but I'm trying my best, and I'm trying to get a good montage of battles together so I could shoutcast for them for you, and then you can, I know some of you have been requesting that, so I'll make sure my community is heard, and you will get those battles soon, I promise. Anyways, good luck in your Go Battle League sets. If you do me a huge favor, please like and subscribe if you haven't already. It's totally free, and you can easily sub by putting your mouse on the bottom right. I'll pop up sub tab, you can sub from there, and I really do appreciate my current subscribers. I love y'all, good luck in your Go Battle League sets, and I will see you guys on the next video. Hopefully you had a wonderful Oshawott community day.
Charmander!